Come with me and you'll see how to draw from your imagination. I will teach every guy in the nation. Hello everybody, my name is RODGON. I'm an artist, I'm a designer, I'm an illustrator, I'm a cartoonist, I am an art teacher. And today we have an absolute pleasure of a thing. Today we get to start a brand new sketchbook together. Yay! Awesome! Oh, yeah, Ron! Oh yeah! Oh my God! We're gonna start a new sketchbook. Oh my God! Yeah, so cool. So today we have the abnormal task of the pressure of starting the first page of our new sketchbook. So for now, we'll put away the Book of Bernie. Thank you, Book of Bernie. You will be drawn in later. I'll plug in my phone because my phone is about to die. And now we have a brand new sketchbook. Ta-da! Am I zoomed out all the way? I guess so. So today, we get the chance to start a brand new sketchbook. The sketchbooks that I like to use are Illos. Illos are awesome, and I'm going to do something cool because I just found this inside. Oh no! You can maybe save some money with a code. I wonder what that code would be. Oh no! It slipped. Oops. I'll post it a couple times throughout the time. So today, we get a chance to start on one of my favorite sketchbooks. These are awesome, mostly because the pages are nice and thick, the covers are nice and rubbery, and they give you like the sense of it being like a more expensive book, like a Moleskine, but they're like $10. And with the discount, they're even cheaper. So you can get them for yourself. Okay, so today's lesson. What should today's lesson be? Moosey, you just ate like half a pound of chicken. You can sit down. Go to your bed. You don't need snacks. You're going to get fat. Hello, Laura. So, first of all, the first thing we got to do is we got to date the sketchbook. What's today's date? Is it the 7th? The 8th? Something like that. So, start. Can someone tell me what the date is? Because otherwise I have to like click out. The 8th, okay. So 8th of May. Wait, March? May, I think it's May. And it's 2025. Okay. So we begin. This one will be probably a teaching book, which will be more so akin of what we normally do. So it'll be full of lessons for all of you. So I'm going to leave the first page empty because I'm going to make a nice little intro for whenever we do print these out. And I'm gonna start on the back page. Today's lesson is going to incorporate one of the coolest parts of the body that normally is really, really annoying for most people to learn. Let me see if the lighting in the back is just hurting this, because this is like... Let's see, is that better? I think that's a little better. Let's zoom in. Boom, boom, boom. Today's lesson is going to be the legs. How do we make legs look cool? Okay. The legs in general are probably going to be the most complicated parts of the body to learn for beginners, mostly because they overcomplicate it. They think that feet and like everything else are really, really hard. But it's more so about learning where the connecting points are for the body. I'm going to show you how to use this little tiny shape, this little baby like fly that looks like a little fly. We're going to learn how to use that to create hip bones. And the hip bones will lead to being able to draw the legs the way that you're supposed to. Once you understand where the hip bones go, anything that you connect back to the hip bones is going to be relatively close to the shape of a leg. We're gonna, well, I did put May, right? Yeah, I put May. Okay, not March. Let's see, I didn't put March. Learning how to overlap shapes will give you the essence of muscles. And learning how to connect that to your upper body is also very important. So I'm going to give you guys a couple tips and tricks today that are going to help you understand the leg, and you're going to be able to draw them a little bit better by the end of today. You're going to be able to move them. You're going to be able to draw them better. You're going to know what the little subtle curves are. And you're going to know how to move them in space. But in order for me to give you this lesson, I'm going to need you guys to help me out with one thing. I need you to hit that like button. Let's get me to 5,000 likes. Once we get to 5,000 likes, we can begin our lesson. And until then, I'm going to tease you guys with knowledge, because that's what I like to do. I like to grab my other little sketchbooks and just show you how cool this little technique is going to be. At first, you're going to start by drawing a little circle, 2 little wings like a little fly, and you're going to draw a little triangle to a circle. This is going to be the very general way to draw a leg at first. Okay? You add your feet by going to the bottom of that circle and then drawing the flat side of your bottom of your foot. You just draw the bottom of your foot, wherever you want the bottom of your foot. Connect it back, and you have yourself legs. Deal? If you want the leg in another direction, you draw the bottom of the foot in a different direction. And then you continue to draw it. Okay? You can draw the foot in any direction you want, coming inside, outside, just by doing that. So that's going to be really cool for you to understand once we get there. Let's see. I want to show you guys like some examples of like things that you guys are going to be able to do. Like you'll be able to learn how to like move your body parts a lot easier. Like drawing poses, like a lot of the harder times is drawing the more casual poses that make people really, really like bent up. Like not knowing how to sit someone down, not knowing how to like make someone look like they're standing still. Like a lot of the more simple things in life, not necessarily simple to draw, but simple concepts in life like walking and stuff like that are the things that are hard to do. Drawing extreme poses with your fist covering half your face and then a knee coming up and one knee coming down. This is easy as shit, dude. Like most of the time people do this for the same reason in animation, they only move the mouth. They draw a shape that they can get away without having to do much, right? They just move the mouth up and down. They don't have to move the jaw moving. Now they do the same thing with comics. That's what foreshortening is. Foreshortening, yes, it's really cool. It shows you like a lot of depth, but a lot of people use it just to not have to draw some things. And you think we don't notice. 5K, let's begin. All right, so the leg. The most important part of learning the leg is learning how it connects to the body. Learning how it connects to the body is going to give you access to these little magical points called the hip bones. The hip bone is going to give you access to a little hole or a little cylinder, and then you can access legs by just making 2 little shapes or 2 circles or 2 ovals that are getting progressively smaller, right? By doing it, and if you do it like this, then you can actually use all those cylinder shit. Like if you don't do it like this, you can't really access that like simplicity, because the connecting point is the hard part. The other arms, like drawing these like appendages going in any direction, that's easy. That's easy. It's literally just changing the direction of it, right? Like a cylinder. But connecting them right, that's the hard part. So let's talk a little bit about how the legs connect to the torso. If we think about the concept of the body in the most simplistic way possible, it would be just a simple circle, right? If we draw a circle and we go around the circle and we go out, it gives us like a little figure 9. I can draw my foot and bring it back in for volume. So we go outside first, inside second. So we're going to do this again. Around we go out, draw my foot, come back in. So nobody really understands how much space to leave in between. I just split it into 3, okay? A big circle, 1, 2, 3. If you do the same thing at the top, you get something really cool. You get your head space, and you get your space for your arms. Ta-da! In a very simple, very super simple way of seeing the body, this is a very simple way of seeing how the structure works. Once you find your hip bones, which are these little holes, and your arm holes, which are these little holes, then you have access to moving them in any direction instead of drawing the shape here. That's why we draw a circle at the bottom. We move the circle, we move the connecting point. Cool. We move the circle, I have the same connecting point. That's not going to change. That's never going to change. That will never change. Okay? I can draw this in any direction I want. I can make it go behind them. I can make it go in front of them. It will never change the connecting point. It always connects back to the same place. So, if we take this, but we want to make it a little more complex, we want to make something like a body, not just a little Ninja Turtle, we're going to double it up. We're going to draw 1 for the hip bones and 1 for your armholes. The connecting point becomes your rib cage. And now you do the same thing. You go around the circle, out, connect back in. Around the circle, out, connect back in. Do the same thing here. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. And this will be a really cool mapping point for you. But the size of your head and your neck is going to be roughly the same size as your crotch, or the space in between your legs. So if you just do this, draw 2 circles with 2 circles in the middle, now you have access to drawing a human body. Okay, you have all the connecting points you need to be able to draw cool, awesome characters in dots of flex. You can do. Remember, as long as it connects back to those circles, you can draw the arm, the legs, the body parts in any direction you want. Okay? And I mean it. The arm will always be in front of the face. So don't put them behind the face. It's always going to be in front, unless you purposely have the front and then the back. That's why drawing things like grabbing swords and stuff like that behind your backs becomes annoying, because you have to calculate this. You have to guess where you're doing. How about profile? Though, if you're thinking about a profile, we're going to move these 2, like if we already have this for a front, right? For a front, it's just this with 2 little circles. Boop, boop. I'm going to move this little cylinder to the edge. So I'm going to move it to the back. Okay. It's going to give me access to my head, the volume for my rib cage, the volume for my belly, and my legs still come out of those holes. Circle, Ninja Turtle. And then the beautiful part of this is that these 2 are independent from each other, right? So you can move these in any direction you want. This is essentially replicating your spine, right? If your spine is connecting your hip bones and your upper body, the more you curve this, the more you can get really cool poses. Connecting hole. Overlapping for depth. Any suggestions for digital artists trying traditional for the first time? I am honestly surprised that you've never picked up a sketchbook if you have a digital setup for drawing. You're telling me you've never picked up a sketchbook and you have never drawn on a piece of paper before. I mean, it's pretty unlikely that that's the case, which means that you already are familiar with traditional stuff. You're not really drawing any different. It's just another tool. When people think of digital artwork as a completely different medium, like it's just replicating the tools that you would normally use. You have watercolor brushes, you have ballpoint pens, you have Sharpies, you have spray paints, you have soft brushes, hard brushes, all that stuff replicating real life tools. So if you learn how to use digital, odds are it's going to be a lot easier for you to go into normal, like traditional tools than you think. Because you already have a familiarity. You just can't use the undo button. Right? That's the only thing you can't do. How's the bad bunny doing? Mr. Bunny, here, let's draw a little chibi. See, let me show you something. You know how we did like the little thing, right? Like, let's just focus on the bottom part since we're talking about like legs. If we draw a circle and just draw this little shape, this little fly thing inside of the bottom, okay? At that point, anything you draw from there is going to look like legs. Doesn't matter if it's little tiny chibi legs or very detailed legs in space with foreshortening and muscles and shit. Okay? It doesn't matter. This is the important part. Because anything that you draw from there, regardless if it's a noodle, if it's a line, if it's just a straight shape, it looks like a leg. Because you're tricking your brain into an illusion. You're not really drawing a leg. You're drawing the connecting point that makes you think it looks like a leg. And then therefore allows you for creativity instead of feeling like you're not drawing something right. I like to tell people that making you proud of something is probably the most important part about the whole concept of learning drawing. You need to be proud of what you're doing, because if you're not proud and you're waiting for somebody else to give you validation, that's how careers are ended really quickly. Most of the time, careers are ended before they even begin, because you think that validation has to come from someone else. It doesn't. I have found over 12 years of teaching that the best way to get someone to have a long, happy career in their art is to help them be proud of something that they are creating. Not because they learned it from me, not because they copied it and got the idea from anyone else. If I can make you proud of yourself, I have succeeded as a teacher. If I can successfully teach you something that's going to make you proud of you, then that's going to make me a successful teacher. If I'm like, frustrated because you don't get it and I don't know how to teach you differently, I have failed as a teacher. Okay? The teachers that go, you have to do things like this because that's how I see it, are arrogant pricks. Because that's not how art works. Not everybody sees things like you. And you might be a very gifted, naturally gifted artist. And maybe that's why that's the only way you see things. Right? Maybe that great natural talent has prevented you from having to learn anything in order to be able to teach it to people that struggle. Right? That is the one thing that always got me when I was like learning myself. I was like, my teachers would be very adamant about having to do things their way. And since I didn't grasp their way, I wasn't able to excel in their eyes. So what I like to do is I like to teach people how to draw things in a bunch of different ways. Like I love doing it. It makes me happy. And plus, it's kind of like, Rod's cool. He can draw things so many ways. Oh my God, he's so cool. One day I'll have a fan club. Does art have to be realistic? No, that's so stupid. Okay, most art isn't realistic. Think about it. Most art is not realistic. Like, how often do you see a realistic portrait drawn on an animation and it's popular? How many times have you seen somebody do a realistic painting of a portrait be in a comic book cover? Doesn't happen. Those were 200 years ago. How name one in the last 100 years that was actually Van Gogh is not real. Yeah, exactly. Van Gogh wasn't real. Van Gogh was like was super surrealistic, kind of like Dali. How can I have a cartoon style without literally copying someone else's style? Well, what do you like? Let's break it down. Let's break this down for you, okay? Boom. So, how do I come up with an original character? How does one draw originals? How do I do original character? And how do I do OCs? Okay? First, you need to like something, right? You need to enjoy something like a sport. You need to enjoy something like an event. You need to have some passion for something. You can't just be like, oh, I don't know. You have to actually like something to be able to do a character that's original, right? In this case, let's talk about something that I like. I have come up with a bunch of different characters. Let's just come up with one on the spot. Let's see. What stories do I have that I like? Let's have like the little bunny guy. So we have a bell bunny, and we have to make something that goes along with a magical bunny that kills dragons. So what do I do to be able to make a magical creature that can survive in that environment? Well, maybe we can make something alongside another furry character that's his companion or something. So I already drew a bunny, so maybe we draw like a little bear. I don't know. Again, I'm not really like overly going to like think about it. I'm just allowing myself to think of something fun and then keep on going. So I'm going to draw a bear. This bear has to have something cool to him, though. He can't just be a bear. Yeah, he can be a bear, but what is his purpose? If he's just a bear, it's just a drawing of a bear, right? Like, have you ever thought about this? When you ever meet new people, whenever you meet a new human being, how do you remember them? How do you remember somebody that's just random on the street? It's not normally because they just look like everybody else, right? A lot of the times it's because they have some defining mark. So in this case, the bunny has a blind eye. In this case, I'm going to make him his companion, so he might have like a really big eye, and then he will have like an eye that got like slash or something, like an anime scar. Right? And now he has some sort of personality. So now he is a little bear that's damaged. Oh no, the little bear is damaged. Oh no. So now I have the ability to think about it to that extent. I don't have to go past this point right now. Right now, I have decided that the character is going to have that trait. So I can try to draw a bunch of little bears that have an X on their eye and see what happens when I draw them in different ways. Right? Eventually, you'll draw one that you're like, oh, that's so cool. And then you move on from there. It's like a save point. Once you find one that you like, you're going to be like, oh, okay, cool. I want to continue with this one. And then you go, what other trait do I want to add to him? Do I want him to have like a really big body? Do I want him to have a little body? Do I want him to have clothing? Do I want him to have armor? Do I want him to have weapons? Like, what is it that I want from that character for the needs of my story? Think of a story. Always think of a story, because if you don't think of a story, there's no purpose for your character. Now, the act of drawing and creating characters, it's the act of storytelling. You're telling stories, but you're not drawing the words. You're telling stories with everything. All the things that you draw are storytelling tricks. You're doing things to tell a story. If you draw a character moving, you're telling the story of him moving. If you draw a tree, you're trying to tell the story of that one moment in time that you captured with that tree. Right? It could be a beautiful little landscape, or it could just be somebody standing there. Right? You're telling a story. You are a great person, bro. I appreciate it. I do my best. I was not always the best person. So I make up for it in my later years in life because I was a little shithead when I was little. So I grew up in a very interesting life, and it was kind of cutthroat when you're younger, you know, and not cutthroat in the way that you would assume, but it's still, you're like, in situations you have to look out for yourself. When you're younger, you don't know the consequences of your actions as good as you know when you're older. And when you get older, you realize that maybe your actions weren't always the greatest. But that doesn't stop me from wanting to be a better person every day. I need a bleach sheet. Hold on. Because I'm smudging. I hate smudges. I'm going to use this as a bleach sheet. There. So I'm just going to rip that page out. I'm going to use that for my wrist. All right. So how do you draw a person's head looking in a different direction? Oh, that's actually really easy. Drawing heads in different directions can come down to just learning how to draw two circles. Do you want to know how cool that is? You guys should get me to 15K. If you guys get me to 15K, I'll give you guys the two-circle method, which is just drawing two circles in the right way, connecting them in the right way, and you have access to drawing heads. But not just that, you have access to drawing heads in any of the perspectives, 3/4, profiles, up and down, by just simply moving circles and knowing how to move those circles around. And I have developed a lot of really cool tips and tricks. And that probably is one of the coolest ones. Only if you promise, I will do it in the same structure if you want. So you can see exactly how that works. I can draw that same thing. Like I can draw every single face perspective by just drawing a couple circles on a face. So if I draw two circles like this, I get myself a front view, right? If I draw a circle outside of this box and I connect these, I have 3/4 connecting and making this the side. And if I want a profile, I just take this one and I make that one into my profile. I don't have to ever go outside of the same character to draw him in a different view. I just have to learn to draw through my shapes. If I learn to draw through my shapes, I can draw a character in every view over itself. The thing is, I'm not drawing the eye. The circles that you draw, this isn't the eye. That's the eye socket. That is the stuff that goes around the eye. The eyebrow, the cheekbone, and then inside of here you draw your eye. When you draw a little teardrop from here, you have yourself your mouth space and your nose and your jaw. Oh! Yeah, that's normally the reaction I get. Okay, so let's teach you guys why that works. So the biggest concept of drawing the head is normally proportions. Most of the time, people don't know how to draw the proportions of the head. I have discovered that if you draw a big circle, you split that into 4, and you extend one of those fourths up, you get a very standard shape for a big circle and a little circle. If you connect them at the top, however you want your forehead to be, this is your forehead, okay? If you want a really round forehead, great. If you want a big, like, bumpy forehead, great. If you want a unicorn horn, great. Okay, this is your forehead. Your forehead is going to be about the size of an eye socket. Okay, so whatever size you chose is, it's already mathematically determined that it's going to be about the same size. Okay? The bottom part of your face is subjective to whatever creature or character you're going to do. Now, right now, we have drawn up until the eyebrows, the eyes. This divides in half and gives you your ear. And if you know a little trick about the eyes, your nose bridge, you know that little dent in the front of your face? It tends to point towards your eyes. Makes like a little arrow. Listening without watching is kind of funny. Imagining unicorn horns. That's funny. So that's always going to point there. The bottom of the ear tends to align with where your nose is going to be. And if you draw a little teardrop coming from the middle of here, or just a straight line in the case of a profile, just draw a straight line for the front of your face. However, if you want a little kid, make that little and you connect it back to the jaw or to the ear. If you want an adult, you make that bigger and you make it go back to the ear. If you're wondering where the neck goes from this circle. If you just go down, you have yourself your neck. The length of your neck is going to be determined by the front of your face. Whatever distance you have here, that's the distance you have here. So I'm going to choose that top one. Whatever distance I have there is the distance you go down, and that's the distance you go down in the back. Same distance. That leads you to the back of your head. Are you making a video? Yeah, that's why I don't have music right now. So I can upload a video. I haven't uploaded a video to YouTube in a while. I wanted to make it a good one. If you want to make it... Okay, so now let's talk about the mouth, right? If you want to draw the mouth, if you draw circle, circle, boop, line in the front, forehead, okay? Half of this is my ear, on the back, to the back. Half of that to the back is my ear. This is the back of my skull. This aligns with the bottom of my ear. Okay, this will always align with the bottom of my ear. If I have earlobes, that's a different story. Earlobes are not with everybody. The base of your ear is something that you base without an earlobe. Okay, if you have an earlobe, that's an additional section that you have to consider. Your jaw connects from the front back to your ear in a curvy line. Don't just make it curvy. Don't make it like this. Don't do this. That does not happen. Very, very rarely does a person in a real drawing, or most times, do they have such a sharp jawline. It doesn't happen. Most of the time, most people don't even have that line. Most people don't have it. So if you think in your brain that you're always having to finish that line, you're always going to have a drawing that looks like a superhero. And most superheroes don't even have that. They have a curvature to that. Okay? Because humans don't look like that unless they're stylized. The neck connects from the back of the spine down. So wherever that hits the bottom of the ear, that's where your neck starts. The distance for here is the same distance for here. So if you find this one, you already found this one, and you already found this one. For a standard character. Okay, not for anybody else. If you already know the size of the neck, you already know the size of the inside circle. You can break all this down and just build it back. You don't have to always start with the eyes. You don't have to start with the face. You don't have to start with the neck. You don't have to start with the body. You don't have to start with anything in general. There's no real path to this. And if you practice doing it in different ways, you're not going to be stumped when you have to draw something in a weirder angle. Yeah? So 2 circles teach you a lot of mapping points, a lot of them. The neck, the other sections, right? But what is this? This is your brain space. This is where your brain resides. Okay, so the big circle is where your brain sits. The little circle is where your features sit. Your eyebrows, your cheekbone, and your eyeballs. So now let's see it a different way. Now we're going to break it down into just a grid. If we find the big circle and the little circle within a grid, now we have access to drawing faces within a grid. Now I can change the grids. Can you do the mouth? Oh, yeah, the mouth is really easy. Whenever you have your nose coming out, right? You know that straight line that you draw? Just draw your nose and your upper lip as one, right? Don't think about this as separate. If you want to think of it separate, then you divide that in half. That's fine. And then your bottom lip should be underneath your upper lip. Underneath. Okay? So you could just do another line going down like that, and it's perfectly fine. It's going to give you the illusion of a mouth. Okay? When you make that straight line. If you want more detail, you bring in this part. And then you start adding overlapping shapes, and you can start adding more detail like that. Okay? You can also divide right here. Instead of going straight down, like this, you can separate your bottom lip from your chin. So now you have access to drawing a couple more features and knowing where they land. Again, it's all math. It's math. Most art will be easily accessible to people that actually like mathematics and formulas, because that's all it is. At least to me, like the way that I've seen the most progression and the most success has been through seeing it through mathematical ways. Like seeing the rule of 3 has been insanely good for me. Like the rule of 3, aka just dividing everything into 3, has been incredibly useful because most body parts can be divided into 3. The rib cage can be divided into 3, and you have your collarbone line, your pectoral line, and the rest of your rib cage. The collarbone can be broken down into 3 parts, 1, 2, 3. The head in general can be broken down into 3 parts. Right? Most of the body parts are 3s. The arms, 3. The fingers, 3. The whole torso in general can be the rib cage, the stomach, and the hip bones. So again, we have 3. So every body part can be broken down easier in sets of 3. And I don't know why that is, but that's something that I have come to discover over the lifespan of my teaching. You don't hate math, you just don't understand it. Nobody really hates anything. They just don't like doing it because they don't understand it. You just probably had really shitty teachers. Like, that's probably more likely the case than you hating something. It's more just you disliking it because somebody forced you to do it in a way that you didn't like doing it. So when you go and you recap things later on in life, right, and you're like, oh, well, you revisit something and then somebody else is explaining it and you're like, oh, why was it never explained to me like this? That's because the person probably didn't know what they were doing. A lot of teachers aren't good teachers. Like, a lot of people go into the field thinking that it's going to be just an easy paycheck. And, like, unfortunately, it's not even that good of a paycheck. So I don't even really understand why people would. If you don't like it, you should not be teaching. It's one of those things that they don't really pay back, right? It's kind of like being a parent. Like, it's very thankless. A lot of the times you just don't really realize the impact that you're making on people, but you're still doing it because you know you personally know the difference. right? You understand that it's like, oh, well, you as a teacher, I know that I'm making a difference for you. You won't even know later on. You might never really realize that you learned one little simple thing and it might help you along the way. And if I'm expecting people to thank me, that's stupid because I don't do this for other things. And most good teachers don't do it for the thank you. They don't do it because they want validation. We're past that shit. Hey, Wes, how you doing? They yell at us too. Oh, I don't know. I would never allow a teacher to yell at me. I'd probably resort to very, very aggressive behavior if they are. And any teacher ever yelled at me. I don't think I'd allow it. Your math teacher was an asshole. Well, I mean, like I said, a lot of teachers have to deal with a lot of like really shitty students too, though. So a lot of them get disillusioned really quickly. I can't imagine how stressful it would be to have to teach like social studies. Something that nobody cares about at that age. Very rarely does anybody care about that stuff. At that age, at least. And then it's like, I have to explain this to you and you have to learn it because it's going to affect your life. But if I don't explain it right, you're not going to want to learn it. The power of overlapping lines. So any questions so far? Any questions before we go to the next topic? We have a little bit left of space in our sketchbook page. We normally fill up 1 page a day, and that's going to be consistently the case. So we're going to be filling all this page up with questions. So yeah, it will be uploaded to YouTube. Can you do torso muscles? Sure, why not? Let's talk about the torso. So if we think about the torso, we have to think about the 3 sections of the torso. The torso is going to consist of your rib cage, it's going to consist of your stomach, and it's going to consist of your hip bones. I like to draw the rib cage and the hip bones because once I connect it, I get the third part. If I draw my rib cage and I draw my little hip bones in the form of a little fly with 2 circles in the form of 3 sections, then it allows me to complete it and I have myself access to a nice little simple shape for a body. So the muscles from the torso are going to come from a couple places. You're going to need to know your collarbone. Right, your collarbone is a lid. If you want to simplify this, it's just a little compass at the top of that. Just draw a little compass at the top of your rib cage, and you're going to have access to a collarbone. It goes outside of your body, outside of your rib cage, because you need space for your shoulders and your arms. So this is going to be my neck, my head. I'm going to connect the muscles, and then this is going to be where my arms fall. My muscles are going to start by my shoulders. That's first layer. Then from the inside of my collarbone down to the middle of my rib cage, I'm going to draw my pectoral muscles. Then my arm muscle comes into play. Then the back muscles come into play. So then right here, this is your like belly area. So if you have any love handles, that would be where you draw them. But if you don't have love handles, this comes in and just overlaps over your hip bone. Your abs are going to be a little bit below your pectoral line, and they're going to connect to your groin. And now you have yourself abs. If you just draw around this, you get your underwear line. And you already have where the rib cage comes in. So It's all like a game of connect the dots. If you learn how to connect the dots, it's going to become a lot easier for you to draw things like body parts. Now let's rotate this, right? If I told you that all you need to do to rotate your body, especially for the top part, is if you draw your rib cage like an egg, a little hip bones. This is kind of like a fat exclamation mark. Okay, for the distance. Think about it like a fat exclamation mark where the hip bones will always kind of almost touch if you just bent them over a little. If you just rotated it, it would touch. And you do that, just bend over to the side right now. Right now, just go like this. Just go to the side. You're going to feel your rib cage touching your hip bones. You're going to physically feel it. Right? Just do that right now. Just bend to the side and touch where the end of your rib cage hits the part that touches the top of your leg. Just bend over right now. Oh, that sounds horrible. But just do it. Yeah? So now that we know that wherever our rib cage is, our hip bones are going to be really close behind because we physically felt it. Now we are never going to wonder how far away the hip bones are from our body. Okay? Now we know exactly where they are. So if we know that, to just turn the upper body, all you got to do is draw a circle with a line before you finish the compass. Just go outside of your rib cage, right? And that's going to give you a front view. If I go and I just rotate that line and connect it a little different, I have now rotated my body. The center of my upper body and my rib cage. Oh, I wanted more hip bones. Instead of drawing this, I'm going to draw it right here. I can turn my whole body around by just drawing that line in a different direction. Okay? So being able to draw your body rotating is going to just consistently be just knowing where to put that one line. And then for the legs, if you want to rotate the legs, you're gonna laugh so hard because it's so easy. Okay, check it out. Front view, right? Front view, we draw our legs, we're good. 3/4, I just move it behind the other one. And profile, I just do exactly the same one. So all you got to do to rotate your lower body is just move whatever circle here behind the other one. Just hide it. That's it. It is easy. People complicate this shit so much. Okay, so female body types. Okay? So female body types. Instead of drawing your hip bones the same size, right? If you do this and it looks like a normal person, make the hip bones bigger. Keep the rib cage the same. And now you have curves. If you have curvature, now you can make hip bones, like cute little pin-ups and stuff like that. Right? Big hip bones, little rib cage give you curvatures. Obviously, that's very large. Most people don't have hip bones that big, but you can choose the width of your hip bones according to what your style requirements are. Yeah, it's just enlarging the little sides of the pelvis, not even the whole thing, just the little wings. and making the rib cage smaller so that it has some curvature to it. Think about the bottom part like a heart. Right? The thighs can be thought of as a heart, and then you can just draw the bottom part of the leg any way you want. The shape will change when you, yeah, obviously. This is just a simple way of explaining it, though. Right? Like, people always say that, like, oh, but that's not how it really works. I get it. But if I told you exactly how it moves, you would not understand it. If I was like, yeah, you have to have like overlapping shapes and going into it, and you have your pelvic bowl, and you have this subtle line going back to the side, and then you have your hip bones and your lines and your muscles, and that's the if I do that, you will never understand that unless you understand this stuff already. And if you already know it, you don't need it explained. Most of the people that are here don't really know all the anatomy and all those components. So yes, that's not how it really works, but that's the simple way to get to an anatomically correct character without having to think too much about it. Yeah? And that is how you do that. And the female torso is the same as the male torso. You just have boobs. Draw a little heart from the collarbone. So instead of your pectoral muscles, just draw a little heart. And now you have boobs, rib cage, hip bones. And it's going to look like a little hourglass. Yeah? You're already going to have the size of the head, too, if you really choose to have that sort of style. So if you draw a little heart and draw a little compass, you have yourself a torso. Before we go. The boob size can change, of course. Boobs don't have to stay so big. You can make them small, you can make them absorbently large. It doesn't matter. You can change the direction and the size of how big you want your breasts. Just draw a little heart of different sizes coming from the back of that circle. The hip bone size is going to determine the other aspect of the female shape, right? If you draw them really large, you're going to have curvature. If you don't draw them large, you're not going to have much curvature. So you want to find the good balance so that you have characters that are proportioned and they don't look completely weird, like this. Yeah? And why would you say that you feel dumb? Just because someone else knows something that you don't doesn't make you dumb. You're searching for that information, so you're not dumb. You're pretty smart. You're doing what you're supposed to. What stepping stones do you recommend for learning anatomical basics? Go look at my channel. Go look at my YouTube channel. You will find thousands of videos and thousands of tips just like this or better, because I normally spend a lot of time teaching the basics. Can I do the compass thing one more time? Yeah. So if you draw a rib cage, or let's say that you just want a normal torso. You don't want it to be anything in general. Do this, divide it into 3, and then draw your head from there. This gives you your collarbone, your rib cage, your head size, and the perfect spacing for your arms. No, we're about to end our class. We're about to end, unfortunately. We have run out of time. We are at the end of our stream. Thank you so much to everybody. We have finished the page, that's why. Okay, so we will have to talk about some other topic, some other time. My friends, thank you so much for allowing me to be your teacher. This new sketchbook are Illo sketchbooks. These guys are amazing, and if you guys type in this code, you guys get a free discount for like $3, which is like 20%, 30% or something like that. So you guys can find them on Amazon, so it's easy to get. And if you tell them in their page that you came from me, ooh, it helps me because they send me free shit. So I can draw on so that I can do it for you guys. Later, Gators. See you guys next time. See you guys probably tonight for another music stream at some point. And yeah, see you guys tomorrow for another lesson. Yeah. Later, Gators. Take care. See you guys next time. Bye.